Progress, yes.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Sports and Songs. We're your hosts, Dan and Andy. This is season 2, episode number 36. Welcome, Andy. How are you?
I am good. Yourself?
Good. Today's August 1st, and we have a little bit of a later show today. I was at a ball game. Andy was busy tracking down all the trade movement this weekend, so we're a little late, but we have probably a better quality show today, right?
Yeah, because if we would have gone with our normal Saturday morning time, so much was going to happen Saturday, Sunday between some of these trades and town ball stuff like you were covering. Better late than never.
Yeah, the trades in Major League Baseball were coming in hot and heavy, and I followed it for a bit on Twitter on Saturday or Friday, was it? And you could hardly keep up with the updates right around that 3:00 deadline, and all morning it was busy, and the afternoon right up until the deadline, and so lots of movement.
And the boss had to come to me 3 times at work and tell me to put my phone away. And I said, I can't.
Your notifications were ringing, I suppose, on your phone, but lots of action. I would call them a lot of lower, like a third tier trades, a lot of second tier trades, and a whole bunch of top tier trades. So one site even tried to rank them all and give grades. There was just so many.
Do you have me on share screen, sir, before we get started? A little insert here.
Well, I'll put you on share, and then I should do the trivia question first.
Yeah, do the trivia question. I just thought of that now. We never covered that in the pre-show production meeting.
You're set. So the trivia question for this week is an interesting one. It's a baseball related. It revolves around the I guess it revolves around the Jose Berrios trade, but it was the U.S. Olympic team. The first game right out of the chute, USA Olympics team beat Israel 8-1. And the one run for Team Israel had a Minnesota Twins connection, former and current Twins connection on the mound, and in the person who scored the only run for Israel. So that's the question: is who are the two players that accounted for the run for Team Israel in the first round game where USA beat Israel 8-1? And we're looking for the pitcher and the batter in this case is the official trivia question. That's all I've got for the trivia.
All right.
Oops. So, are we going to handle all the trades, or are we going to go through the top?
I'm going to go through some of the
40,
the big name players, which was most of them. I did notice 3 times cash was traded, and a couple of times future picks was traded, but we'll cover that as we go here. So we shall see. Ta-da. Get that screen out of the way. And there we are. That's us. Okay, trade deadline. Here we go. Kind of in reverse order, starting at 3:00 on Friday. Chris Bryant, third baseman outfielder. The Giants got him from the Cubs for a couple for an outfielder, Alexander Corneo, and Caleb Killian, a pitcher. The Mets did get in there under the wire, but they got Javi Baez and Trevor Williams for cash, and cash for outfielder Pete Crow Armstrong. Mets fans recall Pete Crow Armstrong was our first-round pick last year. Really high on him. He's been doing well in the minors, but he has had shoulder surgery lately. So the Mets are definitely going for now. And everybody's going, but wait, hold the boat. The Mets just spent how much money on Lindor, and Baez is a shortstop as well. If you go back to the Olympics and tournaments in the minor leagues, Baez can play second base. He's got over 300 games there. So he's going to be at short till Lindor comes back. Then he's moving to second. Baez and Lindor are great friends. That chemistry should be incredible to watch. Like I said, they played together in the international games. So remain calm. All is well. They didn't get any pitching. They didn't get Bryant. But you know what? We did get offense. So we'll see what happens. The Blue Jays acquire Berrios from the Twins for outfielder shortstop Austin Martin and right-handed pitcher Simeon Woods Richardson. So the Blue Jays improved on the pitching a little bit there, and Berrios did pitch today, did fairly well, by the way. The White Sox got Craig Kimbrell from the Cubs. Very rarely Chicago teams trading with each other, so that was kind of interesting. The Dodgers pulled off what a lot of people thought was the big deal today, getting both Scherzer and Trey Turner from the Nationals for a handful of guys. So the Dodgers are bolstering up. The West Coast teams were just on fire. The Phillies did get Kyle Gibson and some other players and cash from the Rangers. The A's acquired catcher Yan Gomes and Josh Harrison from the Nationals and cash. So the Nationals were handing out cash and people. Cubs were having a fire sale. Everybody and their brother was going for those two teams. The Yankees got left-handed pitching Andrew Heaney and cash from the Angels. The Braves got Jorge Soler from the Royals. The Cardinals got left-handed pitcher John Lester from the Nationals. The Cardinals also acquired now former Twin J.A. Happ and cash. The Twins got cash to hand around? What is that? And they got a couple of minor league pitching prospects. The Braves picked up right-handed pitcher Richard Rodriguez from the Pirates. Braves got Adam Duvall from the Marlins. The Red Sox acquired pitcher Hansel Rebel from the Twins for pitcher Alex Shiroff. The Braves acquired Eddie Rosario from the Indians, so former Twin. For first baseman, third baseman, Pablo Sandoval. So he's still popping out there. So who would have thought 3 years ago Rosario would have got traded for Sandoval? You know,
the big panda.
The Panda, yes. The Padres got Jake Marak from the Cubs. The Giants got left-handed pitcher Tony Watson from the Angels. Here's one that kind of interested me a little bit. The Brewers acquired John Curtis from the Marlins for catcher Peyton Henry. Watch that name, listen for that name, Peyton Henry, for the Marlins in a couple, 3 years. He's a stud catcher down in the minors for the Brewers. Couple, 3 years, he might be something. The Marlins made some good pickups. Their minors are sitting good. They can keep Don Mattingly there as a manager, keep some level-headed management there. They might be good in a couple years. That's if Derek Jeter doesn't throw it all away. Some other names here, just kind of scroll through all of these holy buckets. The Phillies got left-handed pitcher and can help. They stink. The Rays acquired some pitching from the Orioles for cash considerations. The Red Sox on the 29th got Kyle Schwarber from the Nationals. I'm not a big Kyle Schwarber fan. I never have been. He's kind of a left-handed Cecil Fielder, a left-handed Rob Deere. He's a softball player. He's going to get home runs, and that's it. Might as well get Sano if you want someone who's going to go up there just to home runs. Oh, but he hit 7 home runs in 7 days or whatever he did, or he hit a 400-foot home run. Big deal. He's going to strike out the other 3 at-bats. Don't care. The Yankees got Anthony Rizzo from the Cubs. The Dodgers got Danny Duffy and cash from the Royals. The Mariners even made a trade. It got Diego Castillo from the Rays. So the Rays, JT Choggins and Austin Shenton. Now, the Mariners and Rays are both kind of in it. That trade was basically like, hey, this guy's like kind of on our roster. He just needs to be somewhere else to maybe click. He's not clicking with us. You hear that a lot of times with players. They're good, but maybe not our chemistry or whatever. But for whatever reason, those two changed. Let's see. The Yankees got Joey Gallo, which, because he's with the Yankees now, you're not going to recognize Joey Gallo right away. He had to shave his beard. Yankees still have that in there. No facial hair. So if you look for him. And then like we reported earlier, Dan had on their local boy. The Toronto Blue Jays acquired Brad Hand from the Nationals. So that's trades. The Twins, not talking trades anymore, it's the Twins in general. And here, yes, I like this logo they had. They had it for like 1 year and got rid of it. Mistake. I like this logo. Sorry. Here's the Twins' schedule coming up for the next couple of weeks. They have the Cardinals today, then to go to Cincinnati, then to the Cheaters for 4, and home for the White Sox, and then the Rays. Now, if you look at the Twins' schedule, we said the Berrios trade, August 17, 18, 19, and the following weekend here at home, they do play the Blue Jays. So the Twins, pretty sure they'll see their former teammate in one of those games. So that should be kind of interesting. That's always interesting when a player gets traded and they comes back to the former team. Mets, their schedule coming up next 2 weeks. Here we go. Cincinnati today, then they go on the road, 4 in Miami, 3 in Philadelphia. And then home for Washington and the Dodgers. So some big games the next couple weeks for the Metropolitans. No, they do not play the Cubs the rest of the year. So we don't see Baez go back and see what happens there. Major League Baseball, before we get into the standings, do you have any more baseball notes, Dan?
Well, I was going to say for the audience that wasn't sure about this, the Cubs had this fire sale and got rid of a bunch of their players. And the reason for that is they've got this good core group coming up that's going to be put into place, I think, next year, 4 or 5 or 6. I don't know how many guys there are, but 4 or 5 on defense. They're all coming up through AA and AAA together. And I think that was the reason that they were ready to move on with Rizzo and some of these other guys, Chris Bryant, because that's the changing of the guard in Chicago. So I think that's the reason they've got some good, strong guys coming up. Now, you mentioned the Miami Marlins, who was kind of off the radar for me. They were one of the final teams in the hunt for the Buxton deal, Byron Buxton.
Yeah.
I think it was San Diego, Miami, and I think even the Yankees. But Miami was one of the final teams in there, really making the push to get Buxton. And that kind of surprised me. I was thinking more maybe the Padres, but that was really it. You mentioned the Brad Hand. I do think the interesting thing with the Yankees is now they get Rizzo to come in at first. They already got LeMahieu at first. They're going to be able to slide him to second, right?
Yep.
Is that the case? Okay, because
that's what I read. Yeah.
And didn't LeMahieu win the batting title last year? I think
he was up there. Yeah,
up there. So that's going to be very interesting. Rizzo will be the automatic starter now at first. The interesting thing is how is he going to fit into the New York scene? Nice, a nice guy. And then
they're resigning after this year too.
Yes, and LeMahieu going to slide into second. That's going to be very interesting how all that plays out. The only other thing. Go ahead.
Well, the Yankees have no left-handed power before this trade deadline. That's why they went after left-handers. So
okay.
And also Yankee Stadium. Yeah, it's a new stadium. It's not as bad as the old one, but you're a left-handed power hitter in Yankee Stadium. That's where you want to go.
Yeah, and it was interesting. Like I said, there was some cash involved, even with the Twins. They got rid of, I think, J.A. Happ, who didn't probably have much value at all. I think we got a couple of I wouldn't even call them prospects, minor league guys, and then Hansel Robles, also a minor league guy. I wouldn't call him prospect, but the Berrios deal is very interesting. We got two of the top 5 prospects in all of the Blue Jays organization. One was last year's number 1 draft pick. So yeah, I think that turned out well. I liked how that shook out. I didn't think we were going to be able to keep Berrios anyway. And on the local sports writer, David Shamma, wrote on today's column on his blog, says, maybe that's why they dumped off Berrios and some of these other guys, because that may pool their money now to be able to keep Buxton. And right. That's what they did there, because we weren't going to be able to maybe keep them both. So that may be what the thinking was there, because I thought both would be gone, is what my thinking was. Because we do have a bunch of talent coming up in the outfielders, so with prospects and current guys as well. Now, granted, they're all hurt, but right. But there was a lot of interest in Major League for Buxton. I think this would have been his highest peak, just like Berrios. They were both blue chippers here at trade deadline. Now is the time to unload these guys. You can get a lot in return, but I think the Twins did well with the Berrios trade. That's all I got for the trade.
All right. We'll go into the standings here. These are as of this morning, so today's games on Sunday are not affected here. AL East, you got Tampa in first, Boston and the Yankees, and Toronto. Central, like I said, you got the White Sox kind of starting to run away with it. Cleveland kind of, in my opinion, I don't want to say had a fire sale, but they weren't too active they were more sellers than buyers. Their manager, Terry Francona's out for the year with health issues, so there's a lot of irons in the fire there in Cleveland. So let's hope they could fix that out for next year and be a decent team. The West, Houston, Oakland, Seattle, kind of fighting for that there. The Angels are kind of holding on there. I mean, yeah, they're 11.5 out, 6 in the wild card, but man, I don't know if I'd want to play that team if they got hot. East, National League, the Metropolitans still in first by 4. They got through this tough week with Atlanta. I was a little scared on that. They split, so life is good. Philadelphia in third, and the Nationals, like I said, had kind of a fire sale too. Again, they were only 7.5 out, and they had their fire sale. Again, I think a lot of that contracts are up with guys, and you got to do what you got to do. Central, Milwaukee, Cincinnati, St. Louis. Cubs 11.5 out, they're done. Like I said, they got rid of everybody, so they're done.
You know what else they're, Andy, I forgot.
Yeah.
Eduardo Escobar, now with the Brewers.
Yes.
That'll be interesting. That's a solid move. I think
that's a good pickup for them.
He was up in the leaderboard for homers, RBIs, average, things like that. So
then here we go for the West. All 3 teams did well, so we'll see how that turns out. Here's the wild card standings in the American League. You got Boston and Oakland have the wild card locked up. Yankees are 2.5 out, along with Seattle. Toronto 3.5 out. And there's like Cleveland 5.5 out. So you never know. It's gonna be tough for Cleveland. They say, "Oh, they're only 5.5 out." There's 4 of the teams that got to leap first, though. So that's a bigger number than you think. National League wild card, Cincinnati 4 games out. That's gonna be a tough 4 games to make up, though, because Los Angeles, San Francisco, and San Diego are kind of beating up on each other. Unless the Dodgers and Giants kind of make San Diego their whipping boy and they just both throttle on them. I haven't looked at the schedule to see who's got who left. But that's where you kind of start peeking at now. If you're a Cincinnati fan or a St. Louis fan, you got to look at your schedule. Okay, who do we have left against the West? Because that's who we got to leapfrog, and go from there. Hockey. Hockey had a lot of trades this week coming up. Yes, hockey. I'm just going to go over a few of these. Not going over all of them, just local names who we might recognize from the Wild and things like that. The Colorado Avalanche on the 28th acquired goalie Darcy Kemper from the Arizona Coyotes. Darcy is a former Minnesota Wilds. There's named Darcy Kemper there. The Washington Capitals acquired goalie Vanjek from the Seattle Kraken in exchange for a 2023 second-round pick in the 2023 NHL Draft. The Wild acquired a 4th-round pick, number 127 overall, in the 2021 Amateur Draft from the Montreal Canadiens in exchange for a 5th-round pick, 150, and the 7th-round pick, number 214, in the 2021 NHL Draft. In my opinion, when you see stuff like that in any sport, when you're trading draft picks this far out, you've got your eye on somebody, or all the top talent, hypothetically, is defensemen, and you're set on defense. We can get our guy later on then for a cheaper price. That's kind of why this happens in any sport. Whatever position you need, they're all high picks. You don't need that. We'll go lower and get our guy for a cheaper price. So that's the theory behind that. Also, the Minnesota Wild got another pick, the 1st-round pick, number 20 overall, in the NHL Draft from Edmonton in exchange for 1st-round pick, 22 overall, and a 3rd-round pick. So again, just kind of getting picks, who you want, who you don't want, money, stuff like that. So that's the reason for that. Canadian Football League. Sports and Songs is now your official West Metro home of Canadian football. So just going to get you all up on it here a little bit. I know we've seen it and dabbled in it a little bit. Here's the teams, and they are very geographical. The East, you see all 4 teams are over on the East Coast there, so traveling is no big deal for them. Montreal, Ottawa, Toronto, and Hamilton. Then the West, you got BC Lions, Edmonton, Calgary, Saskatchewan, and Winnipeg. So those are your teams in Canada, West and East Division. Week 1, now you look at there was 9 teams, so there's always going to be a bye week every week for someone. If you look at our schedules here, if you're a TV fan getting them, that's not an issue. There's a game Thursday night, a game Friday night, Saturday early evening, Saturday late night. So if you follow it, you can get the games highlights on YouTube to watch these. I've been looking at the CFL on YouTube. They got great reports of all these teams' training camps. Some names you may recognize, some you may not. Some you may want to familiarize yourself with, So there's a schedule for week 1. And you see, hey, Montreal's not playing. Well, they do in week 2. So it kind of rotates around. Everyone's always got a thing. This Thursday on page 2, I will be doing my Canadian Football for Dummies program, if you will. Kind of get ready, updated on that. But start watching for us. We'll have Canadian football highlights and scores and schedules. Here's our divisions. Like I said, we saw from the map earlier, but you got BC, Calgary, Edmonton, Saskatchewan, and Winnipeg in the west. And in the east, it's Hamilton, Montreal, Ottawa, and Toronto. Just a little heads up, if you want to follow the Montreal team on their Facebook page or any of their social media, take French first. Just that's all I'm going to say. Time for the Soapbox, everybody's favorite section of the show. The Big 12 is kind of imploding for college football, and the other sports I'll have to follow, but we're going to stick to the football basis on this. Oklahoma and Texas have filed paperwork for when their contract is up in a couple years with TV. They want to move to SEC. The SEC would then have 16 teams. We can't do like an East and West or North and South because there's just some teams will get buried and you'll never hear from them again. So we're thinking of doing like 4 pods, they called it, 4 teams in each pod, and they'd be geographical. So you kind of get a rotation around, be like 4 divisions. You know, the NFC has 4 divisions. Okay, if you did that and you went to 4 conferences, you'd have your 4 super conferences. You really wouldn't need, again, sticking with the football topic here, you'd kind of be expanding your playoffs, but not really. Each conference could just have a larger playoff system within their own conference. Then your 4 conference winners are your final 4 for the National Football Championship. Instead of, oh, there's 2 teams from the SEC in the title, or 2 teams from the SEC and 2 Big Tens. Oh, that's not fair. Each conference gets their own champion. You have 1 from each conference in there. The rest of the Big 12, what doesn't go to the SEC, could go to the Pac-10. Big 12-wise, I've heard Kansas and Iowa State have both been looking into joining the Big 10, which already has 14 teams. Follow the math here. Big 10 has 14. Yeah, I know. So Big 12, I think, is down to 8 teams. It's just getting kind of sad. So you're going to have your 4 super conferences. Big 10 might change their name by then. So with the Pac-12, who knows? Would they be sponsorship names now? Because now players can get paid for sponsorships. If you do 4 super conferences, football's good. College football is basically is officially a business now, players and school-wise. This does affect all the other sports too, or do they all kind of start going, kind of like okay in Big 10 for hockey? That's
Hello, are you there, Andy?
college football, how they're going to upset the apple cart for the rest of the league. Do they let just Oklahoma and Texas leave football only for the Big 12 and keep the rest in the Big 12? Because Texas is huge for basketball. If they go to the SEC for basketball, you've just sweetened that pot. So lots of things going on there, lots of changes, good and bad for college sports, depending on how you want to look at it. And that's what's kind of a soapbox topic here. I kind of, for football reasons, I kind of like it because it kind of helps eliminate that championship. You get a winner from each of those 4 conferences, you're done. But look, the other sports maybe come up with their own names for conferences and go from there. So that's just my 2 cents. There you heard it, NCAA. Take it and do what you will. Call me for your opinions. NCAA, I'd be more than happy to talk to you about it. Music part of the show for me here. New albums coming up with. New releases, we like to say. In the last couple of weeks, these are some new releases we've had. Dee Snider, former Twisted Sister lead singer Dee Snider, has returned with a Leave a Scar, which blabbermouth.net describes as simply relentless, delivering giant choruses from giant chorus and massive riff after massive riff with no weak spots or drops in quality. Now, Dee Snider is still very strong in music. He's done Show Tunes album. He's done other stuff. Twisted Sister is no longer. That's kind of gone. They might do reunion shows here and there. He actually sold all the rights 2 Twisted Sister songs because he wrote all of them. He still gets a check, a royalty check, but he doesn't have to make the decisions on Twisted Sister songs if it could be used in a movie or a commercial or a TV show. Somebody else has that headache, if you will. He still gets a check. D's no idiot. He looks the part, but he's not. D is one of the more smarter men in music. So he's got a new album coming out. Very excited to hear that one. Another one coming up. Prince, Welcome to America, is the latest of what will be very likely a very long line of albums coming from Prince since he's passed. We all heard about this incredible music library he had down there. Most of this was recorded in 2010. It contains a cover of Soul Asylum's Stand Up and Be Strong. Welcome to America is the first studio album to be released by Prince's estate after the live set Piano and the Microphone 1983 was released in 2018 and the demo collection Originals in 2019. I got no problem with them releasing music like this from Prince after he's passed. The problem with me is there's a reason he didn't release it because he's such a perfectionist. Not saying it won't be great music from Prince, but I don't know if he's spinning his grave going, what are you releasing that for? It wasn't right, or I was waiting to do a better album with that. They shouldn't have been on the same album. Just unless he had stuff earmarked, I don't know, but I'm glad they're releasing his music. I love his music, but again, was it up to Prince's standards? Probably still gonna be a great song, great album, but was it Prince standards? We will never know. My friend and yours, Yngwie Malmsteen, had a new album come out. Parabellum. This album means a lot to me, Yngwie said, in more ways than one. It's a return to my roots, and it's benefiting a great cause. The album Painting was created by world-renowned visual artist and painter David Boggess, with the goal of raising funds and awareness for children in foster care. It's been amazing to work with such a cause. So Yngwie, a lot of the proceeds from this will go for child foster care. A lot of the album proceeds there do. Great album. I've heard a couple cuts off it. Yngwie is very incredible. And now, there we go. Stone Temple Pilots, Tiny Music from the Vatican Gift Shop 25th Anniversary re-release. So if you see a Stone Temple Pilots album out, it's not new stuff. They didn't change anything, just re-releasing the first album there. So for those of you Stone Temple Pilot fans, there you go. 25th anniversary already for that one. So with that said, Dan, are you excited about the Stone Temple Pilots release?
No.
I didn't think so.
I'm not a fan. I'm not an STP fan. There's some of the songs, of course, that I like, but
they're one of those. I'll listen to them if they're on the radio. I won't change the station, but I'm not gonna go buy it.
Correct. Exactly.
The Yngwie one though is good. Buy it. Let's do it on Spotify. You'll like Yngwie. And of course, I'm kind of a Twisted Sister mark, so I'm looking forward to the D. Snider album as well. That's what I got, sir. If we get too stuck in, you got some town ball and trivia answers for us?
I got some town ball. First, Crow River Valley League. It's I still think it's one of the best leagues in the state of Minnesota to follow and to watch. It's good stuff. They had their what we'll call the play-in games here this past week. Cologne eliminating Green Isle in a best-of-3 series. Brownton defeating Glencoe in a best-of-3 series. That was just today. It ended on a walk-off. Very good matchup out there in Brownton. And then the only upset of the group, Hamburg beat Mayer in 2 games to knock them out. Mayer was the 6th seed. Hamburg was the 11th. So they'll advance. Really, that's the only upset to mention for the Crow River. That tournament gets going in earnest this Thursday. Hamburg winning, once again, 11 seed out of a 14 teams in the group. They won. But thanks for winning. They'll be going up against Waconia, the number 1 team in the state in the very first opening round. Now,
congratulations.
So good luck with all that. But Hamburg is hosting, along with Plato, the Region 7C tournament. It's only going to be those 2 sites. Day games in Plato, night games in Hamburg. And so Waconia gets the unlucky draw of really taking on Hamburg in front of a home crowd there for Hamburg on their field. this Thursday in the opening game. That's a double elimination. There's only 8 teams left now. They'll do a double elimination. You lose 2, you're out. But the final 4 teams go to state. So when you get down to that final four teams there, you can lose 2, will not be eliminated essentially from the tournament, but you will advance to qualify for state. So the final 8 teams here, it's a 50-50 chance. You're either going to go on, half the teams will go on to state and half will go home. But this is where the rubber meets the road. The DRS is another one, very similar, good, high quality baseball. They've got a first round of the low hanging fruit, I'll call it. Then they'll get into their tournament for the DRS in earnest as well. And they will send, I believe, that's another group that sends 4 teams to state out of that group. One of those teams that finished first there in the regular league conference is St. Patrick Irish. They're ranked, I think, number 3 in the state. They won again today in their season finale over Montgomery 9-1. And guess who they used to pitch there? Longtime amateur standout pitcher Bill Dunker.
Okay.
25 years playing amateur baseball. Came up through Jackson and down in the south there, and then spent the last 18 years, including this one with St. Patrick Irish. 18 years. They had a final going away gift today, essentially, for him. They let him start the final game of the season. Not yet playoffs. He's getting up there in age. He's played, I think, 8 years in the over 35 league already. So I believe he's 42 years old. He's overlapping, playing in both. He's going to be done after this year, an amateur, devoting all his time to the over 35 team there in St. Patrick called the Shamrocks. And focusing on that team only, they are going to be good. He's one of the premier pitchers in that over 35 league in the federal league. And he only plays sparingly because his focus is amateur. But when he gets out, he's going to be good here when he focuses on over 35 next year. But this year, St. Patrick is tough, loaded up with a lot of college guys, ranked very high, and he pitched kind of a going away gift. He's still on the roster. He is still very effective. They won 9-1 today, but he doesn't have the quality arm as the young guys there for St. Patrick. So he'll be on the roster, maybe as a late inning relief guy if needed to come in off the bench for some depth. They will be good. He was coming into the season looking for his 200th career win in amateur baseball. And over 25 years, that is a tough feat to do. So I'm not sure if he ended his career there with 199 or if he actually did hit the 200 mark, but I know that was one of his goals coming into the season. I did see him on Saturday at our game. We played before them in the over 50 league and gave him well wishes before the game in the dugout there after our over 50 league game for St. Patrick as well. So
how are your career stats against him? Have you ever faced him?
Well, you know what? The only time I faced Mr. Dunker was in over 35 baseball when he first came up when he turned 35 or 36. We faced him a couple of times, and he's good. The guy's a quality. He's a competitor. I'll tell you that. So
you must not have done well because you remember going, "Yeah, I got a double off him."
I can't remember anything like that. But it was my uncle Monty was very happy when he was managing for many years that St. Patrick Irish team, and they were so getting tired of drafting him in the state every year, and they just said, "Why don't you just come play for him up there in St. Patrick?" And he was moving at the time into the area, and so they just said, "Well, how about just add you to the roster?" And that's when they started rattling off some state tournament teams year after year after year. He was part of that main group and a very good hitter as well.
I want to double back on something you said earlier. Did you talk Crow River League? I don't know if I was supposed to take the ball there or not, but you forgot to mention Watertown's 2 wins over New Germany, how they've lost 1 game in the last 10, and that was to Waconia.
Oh,
so
yes.
Red Devils are hot. Don't forget my Red Devils. We're coming.
You know what? That's the group that I mentioned. I forgot to mention Watertown Red Devils, and they won in a 2-game sweep over New Germany. They're the team to really watch in this postseason. They play a tough non-conference schedule against a lot of Class A teams, and they are a team that's very deep and made up of a lot of former college guys as well. And then they added a few more as well, some very deep pitching there for Watertown. So another thing, New Germany is out. They did get eliminated. Look for Watertown to do well in this tournament. They're always very tough. But Plato will be hosting the day games this weekend, a double elimination. They don't have lights there at the field, so they're going to move to Hamburg for the night games. I'm expecting to go to that very first game Thursday. This Wednesday's midweek edition for my show, I'll be doing a preview of that Crow River. That will be a very good event to kick off here when that starts on Thursday.
All right, trivia answer.
Trivia answer. So the question was, what player team, I guess combination in the USA Olympic team when the U.S. beat Game 1 8-1 over Team Israel? Israel only scored 1 run. How was that done? The answer was a home run, solo home run by former Twin Danny Valencia.
Oh, I remember him.
Danny Valencia, third baseman, is playing with Team Israel right now, and doing, of course, well. He was a good athlete, but he had their only home run. But that came off the pitcher for Team USA named Joe Ryan, pitching on the U.S. team, newly acquired player in that trade for Berrios.
Nelly.
What's
that?
That
was Nelson Cruz.
Nelson Cruz, that's right. So Nelson Cruz's trade brought in Joe Ryan, and he's going to be a AAA guy for the Twins playing with the Saints. And I would guess to be moved up perhaps as early as next year in the majors. Joe Ryan is a stud, very good pitcher, starting pitcher. They also got Strotman. I'm not sure what the first name. Strotman is pitching down in right now at the Saints.
Yep.
2 AAA guys we got in the Nelson Cruz trade that are very, very good. And I think that's another good trade that the Twins made because Ryan is on the Olympic team, going to be good. Strotman is going to be good in the possibly into the rotation already next year. Then on the other trade, so that was the trivia answer, by the way.
Yep.
Ryan versus Danny Valencia. And then we also picked up on the Jose Berrios trade, another pitcher currently on that Olympic team. So we got 2 teammates on the U.S. Olympic team there in baseball in Tokyo that will be rejoining the Twins here in the system when they return from the Olympics.
If they don't come up in September for call-ups, let's get their feet wet.
Yeah, you know what? We might see some of these guys there, but like I say, the trades of the guys we got rid of, essentially dumping, we didn't get much in return for J.A. Hansel Robles, but the Nelson Cruz trade was very good. Berrios trade, extremely good. And 3 of those 4 guys are pitchers. And one is a second base infielder, outfielder that's got tremendous talent that's moving up through the ranks, and they'll probably see him as well. Now, because he's a shortstop, that may also be a backup to Royce Lewis. You know, we kind of imagine Andrelton Simmons to be gone after this year. Move Royce.
I'm surprised he made the trade deadline.
What's that?
I'm surprised we still had him after the trade deadline. I thought he'd have been gone.
So that would be interesting. Simmons, Andrelton. So I don't expect us to use him anyway. But now they kept him during all this, and they've got some guys in the Saints that could come up. JT Riddle. We still have Polanco, but the Royce Lewis coming up next year is going to be huge. But this trump card, this stud infielder for the Blue Jays, a top prospect. And we didn't get guys that were in the top 20 or top 30 prospects. We got a number 2 prospect for Berrios and a number 4 prospect. We got 2 of the top 5 in the entire Blue Jays organization. So
we didn't just dump guys. We got
on Twitter when this was done. The hashtag that was trending was fleeced. People were saying the Twins fleeced the Blue Jays once they made that deal. That started to trend on Twitter that afternoon after that Berrios deal, and that was very, very good. These guys are going to be household names. These 4 guys we got in return for Berrios and Nelson. So get ready for that to happen. Albeit it'll be next year, but maybe September 1st.
We knew the Blue Jays were desperate, so we took because they were playing for now to get in.
Correct.
The Nelson Cruz trade. My 2 cents on that. No big secret. I'm no big Sano fan. But with Cruz gone, you tell Sano at spring training next year, leave your glove at home. You're our DH, period. And maybe that will help him. I don't know. I know when the Twins traded for Chili Davis back in the day, leave your glove at home. You're a DH. We're not going to platoon you around. And that's what they got to do with Sano. I don't know if it's, some ball players are in their head a lot with stuff. Is he having problems at first base defensively? Now it's affecting batting. I don't know. But you tell Sano, leave that glove at home in March when you come down, and you just worry about hitting, young man. And not that I want to talk, but maybe lose a few pounds.
Yeah, it will be interesting because if they've got the Twins like these guys that can go 2-3 different ways, multiple position players. And so we picked up that, what's his name, Austin with the Blue Jays.
Oh yeah.
So he's an infielder / outfielder. He can play both. So they're going to be able to move him around, much like Alex Kirilloff came up as an outfielder. He might be the main first baseman next year. So, but these guys can all play multiple positions. I think Brent Rooker was another one. And so they like that, and they can get some miles out of this dude and the pitcher that they got. Two good starters, and I think one's a reliever, and then one of the couple other guys we got, the lower end guys. There's a closer in there and some middle reliever guys.
One more former Twin note. I was looking on Twitter today or Instagram, one of the two. Wade Jr. Remember him? Traded to the Giants.
Yes, Lamont.
Trending on the social media. Left-handed hitter hits a home run out over in the McCovey Cove, right over his mom, who was in the outfield. So it's kind of neat. Yeah. So she's just going nuts. Oh, my baby boy hit a home run. You know how moms are. Well, maybe your mom doesn't because you don't hit home runs, but moms get excited when it hits a home run. And whoops, did I say that out loud?
I said it out loud.
Okay, but moms would get excited if their kid hits a home run, and it goes right over her head in the McCovey Cove, and she, happiest. It's great to see stuff like that. It's like a little league game, She's
I'll have
cheering.
to watch that. I did not see that. That's excellent. I'm a Lamonte Wade Jr. fan, and when the Twins had him in the outfield, then they converted him to an infielder. Turned out to be a first baseman.
Yeah.
The Giants run into trouble. Now he's up in the majors and platooning and getting a bunch of playing time for the Giants.
And we'll see him in October.
And they are good. And so now you're on a winning team besides.
Yeah.
That's got to be fun.
All right. What 8-track have you been listening to this week in your 8-track player in your car?
Well, what I've got this week is the album A-Hole by Gene Simmons. Have you heard of this?
I know he did some solo stuff. To tell you the truth, I never heard any of them. I know he did do albums.
Well, it didn't make much heavy rotation really in the radio play. It came out in 2004. A-Hole is Gene Simmons' second solo album by the former Kiss Gene Simmons, released in 2004 on Sanctuary Records. Its controversial title does not appear on the front cover at all. Doesn't appear on the front cover. On the side, it does say the full word. Anyway, Gene says it's just another way of saying I don't really care what anyone says about me, he declared. I'm preempting what people say and therefore diffusing the power of my detractors. The album contains songs by Simmons based on some work by Bob Dylan and Frank Zappa, among others. In fact, Dave Navarro plays guitar on the Prodigy cover song Firestarter. And so here's the album listing. It's actually very good. I listened to this week. And although it's kind of comical, some are funny songs, some are very heavy metal, some are covers. Gene Simmons always puts out some good stuff. But in the end, it leaves you with no doubt that he really does not care what you think about him or his attitudes on things. It's that way, very comical, I'll say. The first song is called Sweet and Dirty Love. Song 2 is Firestarter. That's a Prodigy cover. Dave Navarro does play lead guitar on that track. Then he's got a song 3, Weapons of Mass Destruction, which is pretty good. Song 4, Waiting for the Morning Light. That's a Bob Dylan song that he sings, a very, very soft song. Song 5 is Beautiful. Song 6 is A-Hole. Now that he bought from a company, the original band from Norway. The A-Hole song was a band in Norway. He bought the rights, bought the song itself, and converted it. When I first heard that song, I did not really like or appreciate the lyrics. It's kind of goofy. It's sophomoric and it's very junior high humor. Once I found out that Gene Simmons bought that from a band in Norway that played the whole song, and then you re-listen to it with Gene Simmons' humor, it's actually genius. The song, he's kind of making fun of himself there. Next song is song 7, Now That You're Gone. I believe that was written after the death of his mother. Do you know when Gene Simmons' mother died? Was it recent?
She is still alive, I thought.
Okay, so if she's
Is she
still alive, then
alive?
it's not. But it seemed like it was someone that he's very close to. I do believe that she is still
His
alive.
mom, I know when he did the Family Jewels TV show, his mom was still alive, I believe,
Okay.
because she was on a few episodes.
And this was
This came out before
2004.
you said? Yeah, Family Jewels went up to like 2011, 2012. So
Gotcha. Now the next song is Whatever Turns You On, and this has very, very heavy, sexually explicit innuendos. Very Gene Simmons. It's almost comical. The next song 9 is Dog. It's also very similar. Song 10 is Black Tongue. That's the Frank Zappa. Now on that song, background vocals on that song include Dweezil Zappa, Moon Unit Zappa, Gail Zappa. That's Frank's widow. Dweezil on lead guitar solo there, and then also Ahmet Zappa. They all appear on song 10, Black Tongue. Song 11 is Carnival of Souls. That's kind of a riff taken there from the old Kiss album that came out. Song 12 is a comical song, but not too comical. If I Had a Gun. I think he meant funny there, but probably wouldn't go over today's society. Song 13 is 1,000 Dreams. And so Bruce Kulick plays guitars on tracks 1 and 3, Dave Navarro on 2, Eric Singer plays drums on tracks 1 and 3. And then on track 8, the background vocals are by Shannon Tweed and Louise Tweed. Shannon and Louise. And otherwhere on the album, his kids, Nick Tweed does background vocals on track number 11 called Carnival of Souls, and his daughter Sophie, background vocals on Now That You're Gone. So a lot of session guys in this group, including Bruce Kulick, Eric Singer, Dave Navarro. The song Black Tongue actually was an unfinished song of the same name composed by Frank Zappa. Simmons licensed a recording of Zappa playing the initial riff, built a new composition around it, playing with Dweezil Zappa and backup vocals by Dweezil, Ahmet Zappa, and Moon Unit Zappa, and Frank Zappa's wife, Gail. So this whole album came out June of 2004. It's considered hard rock and heavy metal, although some of it is very soft, comical, almost love ballady type. But if you go back to the 1978 solo album by Gene, it resembles that. There's some good songs, there's some heavy songs, there's some light songs, there's some goofy songs, there's some comedy. It's 44 minutes, 38 seconds.
now Dweezil Zappa plays on it, and I love Dweezil Zappa's guitar work. Very underrated.
There's some very good riffs. This album has some very good music. And of course, Gene's got some very good bass on here as well.
Yeah, so Dweezil's on there. So to me, I might have to give it a listen. I'm a big Dweezil fan. I like Dweezil. And the whole Zappa family was just musically talented. It's just, I think, because they were Frank's kids, no one took them seriously. I mean, and you got to feel sorry for Moon Unit, growing up with the name Moon Unit. I mean, that's such a boy's name. And she had to grow up with that name. So I felt kind of sorry for her. But Ahmet and Dweezil are very talented. Moon Unit's done some singing, very talented. Sophie Tweed, his daughter, she's done on a couple albums, very talented. She was on America's Got Talent and got voted off, but she did try. But she's very talented. Nick's done some stuff. He's more production end, I think. But Shannon Tweed with her stuff, if you ever watch the show, Gene's show yet, the Family Jewels show, Shannon's very smart. She still worked with Playboy a lot, did a lot of consulting with people and stuff like that. She wasn't just a cover model. Gene's not just a figurehead. Gene is so smart on music business. She did her modeling business. These kids learned so much from those two. they're going to quietly make their millions and not be in front of the camera. They're both going to make all their money behind the camera. You're going to look at stuff coming up. You're going to see Nick tweet Simmons' name on there. Sophie tweets Simmons' names on there. So very talented family there. The Zap of Family involved, very talented. So that should be a good album. Have to dig that up in the archives.
Dig it up in the archives, but specifically for you, Andy, it's the song Black Tongue. Black Tongue by Gene Simmons on that solo album is the whole Zap of Family. It's very well done.
That will be the one I'll put on our Spotify page for your Dan's album reviews on Spotify. We put a song from each album on there, except for the Garth Brooks one. Garth Brooks does not have any of his songs released on Spotify, so I apologize for that. But when I update that every couple months. I will put Black Tongue on there. In fact,
the last thing,
I'm writing it down now.
Write down, it's a very good song. I did fail to mention the over 35 baseball league called the Federal League in the state of Minnesota. Regular season ends today. And so with the games wrapping up here this evening, they will be putting their brackets out. That'll be on the Sports and Songs page as well with the brackets for the Federal League over 35 championship. That gets underway here this coming weekend. So things get busy.
Yes. Canadian football starts this week. So my Thursday shows will be Canadian football based. We'll still talk about it here too a little bit. I'll get more in depth here in the month of August, kind of get you all up to date on the standings, the scoring schedule, 15-yard end zones, 55-yard line, 3 downs, all that fun stuff, some of the rules that are different. But so Thursdays this month, Canadian football for those of us in the West Metro.
Awesome. That's all I've got for this week. Is there anything else, Andy?
That is it. Rails to Trails last night was a big success, hence water today for me. You do the math, kids. It's been fun. Like I said, Thursdays I got page 2. Dan has his baseball show Wednesdays on the YouTube, social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. We're starting to figure out the Twitter thing, so we're getting good at that. So good follows and retweets there.
Yeah, there's some good. We're getting followed by a bunch of other folks as well and getting some good traction there, especially on the amateur baseball and the over 35. They like the stuff that I'm putting out there. So we're getting some traction on those games, and hopefully the preview show should get the same result. All right, have a good week, everybody.
See you next week.